Quick, what makes a good screenplay? Believable characters, witty dialogue, brisk pacing? If you think of all your favorite movies with tight scripts, they will all likely share these qualities. Back to the Future, Casablanca, Network, Pulp Fiction, all of these possess the traits of truly great screenplays. However, if all of these traits are to work together in tandem to form an engaging experience, we require one thing: structure. If the story being told doesn't have any form of structure that aids the storytelling, the film usually becomes a formless, boring waste of time. A film of recent years, Damien Chazelle's Whiplash, nailed the entire checklist for a well-written script. I'd like to talk about two aspects of this film and why, to me, they make the entire narrative perfect. First, I'll talk about the importance of the three-act structure and how Chazelle got it exactly right. And second, I want to bring up the concept of character archetype, or mythic structure, and how utilizing archetypal literary criticism to Chazelle's writing and direction can reveal how Whiplash appeals to our subconscious. So one thing Chazelle has locked down in his first few films is efficient storytelling. Not a single scene is wasted. Every scene moves the plot forward well with succinct exposition and character development. Each part of the film adds to the whole, and if one of these parts is taken out, the structure collapses. Most of us probably remember from high school literature class that the three-act structure consists of 1, the setup, 2, the confrontation, and 3, the resolution. This method of dividing a fiction narrative is extremely common, but when you sit down and try to write a feature-length screenplay, you realize it can be hard to master. The first act is primarily used for exposition, which is writing or speech primarily intended to convey information or to explain. The first act needs to answer the questions: what is going on? Who are the main characters? What are their relationships? What kind of setting do they live in? Remember what I said about efficient storytelling? Chazelle introduces the hero and the villain in the very first scene. You can tell from the introduction that the time these two meet again, things will sure be interesting. We get a glimpse into what their relationship will be like and how they treat each other. The setting, appropriately, is a music studio. As we exit the first scene, all of our questions are answered, and with each subsequent scene, we get eagerly dragged along as we begin to wonder what will happen next. The first act continues when a dynamic is added to the story, usually an event that happens to the hero. When the hero attempts to deal with the events, this leads to a second or more dramatic situation, which is referred to as the first turning point. The first turning point is supposed to demonstrate that the first act is ending. Life will not be the same again for the protagonist, and a dramatic question is raised that will be addressed in the climax of the film.
Start practicing harder, Damon.
This is known as the inciting incident, which gives the protagonist a call to action. Now that we know everything that is going on, we're now ready to watch the conflict, and it's rare when conflict is more entertaining than that in Whiplash. The second act, of course, is the rising action. This action comes to be because of the protagonist's attempt to resolve the problem initiated by the first act of the film. This is when the hero finds himself in a worsening situation. The situation worsens because the hero does not yet have the skills in order to confront the issues he has been presented with. This is an important part of the character's arc. In my opinion, the most important thing a second act can do in any film is to completely take our expectations away and make it seem like the conflict can't be resolved. Wipe the slate clean and have the characters restart their battle, so we can ratchet up the action in the third act to rebuild tension as quickly as possible. In essence, a great plot twist can do wonders here. Whiplash has a great one. After crashing his car, a bloodied Miles Teller makes it to the theater and tackles his psychopathic and bald instructor. He gets kicked out of school and his teacher gets fired. Talk about wiping the slate clean. How can the conflict ever be resolved if these two will probably never even see each other again? This is just pulling the rug right from underneath the audience. Not only that, but his relationship with his girlfriend is totally dissolved, so we won't even get to see the end of that. More than an hour invested into this film, and we're without a clue as to how things will end. The third act is where we reach the climax of the film, where the characters have a new sense of who they really are. Just look at the face of Naaman here in one of the closing shots. Even he can't believe what he just did. Bald psycho teacher is beyond amazed too. This riveting ending leaves us gasping for air, and a study of ambition and drive for us to ponder. This exhilaration we feel is all due to the story we were fed and how it was fed to us. The puzzle pieces of a great movie were perfectly aligned for this to work. And guess what? The fucking Imitation Game beat this tour de force for Best Adapted Screenplay. What a crock of shit. Now, because we have covered why the narrative structure is so good, let's touch on why we are even paying attention to the narrative in the first place. The characters. The battle between these two was mesmerizing. But why? Why do they pique our interest at all? To truly answer this, we must delve into the depths of our inner psychology. The psychological concept of archetype was first introduced by Carl Gustav Jung in 1919 in an essay titled Instinct and the Unconscious. He theorized that archetypes are highly developed elements of the collective unconscious, and that the existence of these elements can only be deduced by story, art, myths, religions, and dreams. I think that filmmakers who have the capability to consistently portray captivating archetypal elements are the ones who are most interesting. I think that this is also why Star Wars and Harry Potter are such popular cultural sensations. These two film series got character archetypes and story pattern archetypes exactly right. Some common character archetypes include the hero, the mentor, the ally, the shapeshifter, the trickster, and the villain. We know that we have the hero with Andrew Naiman, the mentor with Paul Reiser from Mad About You, but what is Fletcher? The reason why J.K. Simmons' performance is so good is because the character of Fletcher embodies multiple character archetypes at once. He can be viewed as the ally, the shapeshifter, the trickster, and the villain. His role forces him to be nuanced, and at times throughout the movie, I was wondering if the guy had multiple personality disorder. If Damien Chazelle can create fascinating characters that appeal to our subconscious, all he has to do is insert these characters into the classic hero's journey and embed this journey into a 100-page script. The motif of the hero's journey is known as the monomyth. In his 1949 work, The Hero with a Thousand Faces, American literature professor Joseph Campbell discusses his theory of the journey of the archetypal hero found in world mythologies. A hero ventures forth from the world of common day into a region of supernatural wonder. Fabulous forces are encountered there, and a decisive victory is won. The hero comes back from this mysterious adventure with the power to bestow boons on his fellow man. This is the secret to getting the 3-act structure perfect. The departure, initiation, and return are all events that the hero endures in this mythological template. And when myth is merged with structure, the story is compelling.